Hey. Welcome to another episode of Evolving Perspectives. My name is Mattea, your podcast host. And on this podcast, we dive deep into the stories of everyday people, discussing the hurdles they face and the triumphs they've achieved. We have real, raw conversations where we laugh, we cry, we uncover the incredible resilience within us all. From overcoming personal setbacks to navigating life's unexpected twists, each episode that you tune into is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to persevere and thrive. Tune in as we share moments of vulnerability, inspiration, and ultimately empowerment. Get ready to be uplifted and inspired as we showcase the unwavering strength of the human heart on Evolving Perspectives. Chime in. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Evolving Perspectives. My name is Mattea, and I am your podcast host, and I am here yet again for another amazing episode. I am super excited for my guest that is coming on here today. You all know I always bring you all the best and the greatest guests, and today is just like every other time. I am so excited about this guest today because I have known this young lady for probably, maybe 10 years or more than that. Definitely more than that. Now that I think about it. And I have definitely seen her evolve in her career, in her life, in her entrepreneurial endeavors. And it has definitely been a joy to watch. She is a wife. She is an amazing woman. She is an activist. She is an educator. She is an entrepreneur. She owns her own business. She's a podcast host herself. And she's just an all-around great person. I'm super excited to bring her to the stage today, and I can't wait for you all to hear this conversation. So, would you help me to welcome my guest, Miss Grace? Welcome to the stage, girl.
Hey, Mattea. Well, first of all, wow, intro. I said, who's she talking about? It's you. Thank you so much. That is so phenomenal. You gassed me up. Okay.
Girl, we got to give you your flowers. You know, that's my thing. Okay, we give you your flowers while you can smell them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sniff them all. They're beautiful. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Well, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited that you're here today. I have had the pleasure and the honor of knowing you and seeing you through your evolution over the course of the last several years. But if you would actually introduce yourself to our listeners, and they can get a little glimpse of who you are, what you do, and what you got going on right now.
Sure. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so happy to see the evolution of the podcast. I'm excited to be a guest and get into our topic today. So I too am excited. But for all those who may or may not know, my name is Grace Gyemfi-Gross. I am the creator and founder of the Arrivista Planner, the quintessential on-card print, purpose-driven, vision-filled planner. I don't know why you'd want another, but you know, we're here to show love to all. But yes, it's been a journey. I was launched in 2019. Apart from that, I've had my hands in many things, as Mattea said, in education, in development, in event planning, all of these things, which I still do as well. So it's beautiful. It's a lot of work, but we do it, and we do it to the best of our ability, to God's glory. And, that's pretty much, that's it.
Yes, right. Exactly. So I want to dive right in because, of course, we are still at the top of the year. We are still in first quarter, and everybody always has these amazing goals, resolutions. I don't even think, to be honest, I don't think that I don't even hear resolutions like I used to. Like, that used to be a whole thing. I'm making a New Year's resolution. I'm going to do da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. But now you don't hear people doing that anymore. They, maybe say I have some goals that I'm trying to set, or, I'm setting my intentions and all that stuff. Yes. Like that, those are the buzzwords that we're hearing. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is, for me, I have also kind of taken on that mindset. I'm no longer doing like these resolutions like I'm gonna lose 20 pounds by March and I'm gonna, save $50,000 by June. Like I kind of have been like, this is the outline or the blueprint that I want my life to look like. And these are the things that I would like to achieve within a 12-month span.
Yes.
And when I do that, it to me, it seems a little bit more obtainable. You know what I mean? Even for me, I'll say something as simple as I used to do the whole, like everybody else, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to do. And then I was like, Mattea, you know what? Stop doing this to yourself, girl. It's a lie. How about we just take on the mindset, Mattea, you just need to be a healthier version of yourself.
Yes.
We're not even going to get all, all this thing where we just look, I don't want to say addicted to the scale, but you're always obsessed with the number and, oh my God, how many inches? And some people, they need that. They need that to keep going and keeping them motivated. But for me, it was just so frustrating because I would do good and then I would fall off. And then I would eat little celery and carrots and then I would need me a latte. And I'm like, this
right. You're like, what's going on?
Hey, wait, this is ridiculous. Okay, what can we do that can bring balance that still where I still can honor my body? Yes. I can still incorporate, exercise and healthier eating without it feeling so rigid and so like, oh my God, it's like, what can I do to create, an ideal fitness plan, I guess you could say, that is something that I can do for the rest of my life. And so, whether it's that or other things that I've set out to do for the year, this has definitely been for me over the course of the last several years, just a mind shift, and how I took on the year. So
I think you're right. I think that when I look at the trajectory of like, I don't want to say the industry because that's not necessarily true, but I want to say just society in general. I think the idea of a New Year's resolution, I think it was very popular. You see commercials about it all the time, right?
Exactly.
Like, oh, we're going to start January strong, make sure that you get your fitness plan for whatever, or whatever the thing is. You always by February, it's a wrap. March is lucky. And I think that, as you said, the time frame is interesting because I think a lot of shifts happened between 2019, 2020, 2021 when time wasn't really like, I don't say it wasn't really a thing, but like you were in the house. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't
exactly
markers of time were not there. So I think that it had to in order to kind of keep that equilibrium of what you wanted to accomplish, there had to be a true mindset shift because the barriers of time were not the same as they would have been if you were getting up, going to work every day, 5 days a week. The schedule that we had was not a thing. It was not an element in our lives anymore. So I think you're right. I think over the past few years, it's definitely pivoted. Another buzzword from 2020, right? Hate that word.
Exactly. Ciao.
But it did. And I think people were more interested in a holistic life change because of ebbs and flows in life, right? You can still lose 20 pounds by the end of the year, but it may look a little different. You may do Pilates a little bit, then you may do a kickbox. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't need to be the same.
Exactly.
Because you might have more time in first quarter, less time second quarter, and then less time for third quarter, and then all of a sudden a breadth of time fourth, or who knows, you might not be able to exercise at all. So I think that is what led to this movement and this ideal kind of shift. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. And to be honest with you, I think because of that, because I know for me, and I'll say that you actually had something to do with that because I was a person who every year I got my new planner, I'm not going to name the ones that I had, but because, but I had different ones. I had stickers. I had this, I'm doing all the things and it was cute. But then, I remember us having a conversation and you were like, Mattea, I'm working on some things. Cause, when I was in Maryland, I was your hairstylist and you were like, I got some things I'm working on. Da, 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 da. I'm like, what you got, girl? What are you working on? What are you working on? And when you came out with the final product, I don't know. I think I was so very proud of you because number one, I always get excited when I see people achieve their goals, right? because it's one thing to have a vision and an idea, but to see those things manifested in real time and in real life, it brings me so much gratification. And to know that people that I know that I'm connected with is seeing their dreams and their visions unfold in real time in their life, and it's no longer just a vision in my head or just something I wrote, in a book, in a journal, and to see it actually in my hand. I mean, it is something. I think out of all the things in my life, is probably one of the most rewarding things that I love to see, is to see people do well. It just, and not even, and it's not about, a particular dollar amount. It's not about a number of sales. It's just to know that, because people don't know, because I've been on this entrepreneurial journey for such a long time, people don't understand the work that goes into seeing a final product, project.
Yes.
Idea, what all the things, like what, and I mean, it happens all the time. Even with us having a funeral home, people are like, don't you want a funeral home in so-and-so? Y'all should open up in Atlanta. Oh, y'all should open. I'm thinking, do you understand what? I don't think you really.
Not at all.
We ain't Bill Gates out here. Like, we don't have endless money where we can just be like, okay, yeah, go ahead, Tom, do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they have not the slightest clue.
They have no clue. Like, we're real people, like with real jobs, who saving our own money and, and living off, trying to do our thing and making sure our credit is together so we can make stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think people truly understand, unless you walk that walk, you don't really get it. You don't. It's not anything negative or positive. It's just that you don't understand really what that journey looks like. And to see what the product that you produced, I was so proud, because I was like, because when you were like, oh, Mattea, I'm doing a planner. I was like, okay. I'm like, that's nice. And I was like, oh, you ain't make this at Kinko's. Oh, this, I done dated myself. This ain't come from Office Max. Honey, this needs to be in Michael's. This is Hallmark worthy.
Listen, you did. You were one of the first cheerleaders, and I will never forget the message that you sent me. It was so beautiful. You were talking about how you could see that God's hand was on it, and you were so like just thrilled and happy for me regarding the quality. I mean, literally in the first, I want to say, week, you were one of the first top 3 to ever give me any kinds of encouragement, support, like, and that is very true. One thing, Mattea, you're not gonna lie on yourself now. That is the truth. You are always supportive, always looking at ways and ideas. I'm sure we'll come into that a little later as we continue talking, but ways to help others continue to like prosper and like elevate their brands. I mean, you're just a visionary in that way. 100%.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Grace.
you.
You're welcome. But I want you to talk to us, first of all, about how you came up with the idea of a planner. And I want you to talk to us about that from the perspective on, of course, how you came into it, but also because one of the things that I have just come across, just being, again, a business owner and all the things, and coming across and talking to a number of different entrepreneurs, it's always, this imposter syndrome. Well, it's already being done, so I don't know. Well, they already got one, so I'm not sure. Well, I don't know who else going to buy it, that type of thing. And of course, planners come a dime a dozen. You can walk into any Ross, any TJ Maxx, any Michael's, any whatever, and see a plethora of options. But I would like to know, what was it that you felt like was missing in that particular circuit or that market or that industry or whatever I don't know what it's called, that you were like, but I see something different. What was that, and where did you get that from?
That's a good question. Before I answer that, though, can I just make a comment about imposter syndrome? Now, maybe this is unpopular, but I cannot stand that. I cannot. Let me tell you, if you are a child of God, what do you mean imposter? Where can you not go? Hey. What power do you not have? What influence are you not, can you not make subject to the King of Kings? You should not have imposter syndrome. Your daddy is a king. Walk into every place like you own it. What are we talking about? We got to stop that. So honestly, that never even crossed my mind. And maybe someone will say that's to your detriment because it was actually a lot harder than I anticipated. I figured it was going to be easy. I'm like, oh, ain't nobody got nothing like this, baby. Like you would have thought I had made a new, I don't know, cake or something. You know, it didn't feel like initially. Let me tell you now, things, you know, life will be good. Entrepreneurship.
Listen, it will humble you. You're like, oh, wait a minute now.
But honestly, like it wasn't even a thought in my mind. I actually thought that they were going to be gone in 1 week. That's what I thought.
Because who wouldn't want to buy this?
Right, that's the attitude I had. I said, I'm going to need to re-up. I'm going to need to make some more. So I just want to encourage people. And I don't know. And I know that sometimes I feel as if we give monikers to things that we should not. We should, yes, you may be nervous. That's natural. Like some of these things that we feel that we've given these strongholds to, I think we don't need to do that. Like, yes, you can be nervous to enter a space. That's natural. You can be excited. It may feel as if, oh man, do I not belong here? But don't even let that question enter your mind.
Yeah.
You breathe in, you belong there, baby. It doesn't matter what you look like, the amount of degrees or not, how you sound. If you are graced to be there, you're graced to be there. So we should put that in we should put that in 2024. I don't want to hear that anymore. Let's stop that. There's no such thing. You're not an imposter anywhere. You on earth. Where are you an imposter? I'm confused. You're not a tiger masquerade like you're a human. You belong here. So let's cut that out now. So yeah, no, I never understood, but that's neither here nor there. Back to the question you asked me, Mattea. I'm sorry, I was going off track. Now
it's okay.
I'm sorry. Now, when it comes to the planner, I am a planner geek. I love planners. I'm one of those who, prior to having my own planner, by August, at least, July, I have my planner because I just like to get it ready, massage it in my mind, for the forthcoming year. And that's like 6 months in advance. I've always been like that since I was like 10. I just like them. They're cute.
I wish y'all could see my face.
I do. I just love them. I just think they're so cute.
August, Grace. Wow.
Yeah. Because, they used to give us agenda books at school. But then there were so many different, so I liked those. Yeah, but then I used to like to go to the Staples and like go and look at the different ones and like beg. But you know what is too? I think looking back now that I'm even talking about it, my mom had the Franklin Covey planners from her job. And I think what it was is it was so adult-like to me and I liked it. That's actually, wow, I'm having an epiphany. That's where it came from. I used to be inside my mom's planners. Look at that, Mattea, bringing epiphanies into the mix, okay? That's what it was.
Listen, hey, you never know what's going to happen when you're on this podcast.
Period, right? Period. So that's so funny. I don't know what it was. Someone should have told me it was a scam, but I always wanted to be an adult, even as a kid. Like, I liked being a kid, but I thought being an adult was cool. Like, I was like, oh, we get to go to work and look at her planner. And so she's writing things down in meetings. I thought it was cute. Little did I know it was not.
I can so see that see that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can so see you being that person as a 5-year-old, 10-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because even if I was like, my imagination's always been something that ran wild. So I would be sitting in class, get my work done and pretend I'm at work. Like, why are you doing that, girl? Like, enjoy being a kid, but I don't know. I just liked it. So looking back, that's where the love of planners came from. I think I just want to be like my mom. So that was it. So this had to be 2015, 2016. I had one of my cousins, she's from Los Angeles, and she had joined a sorority. And you know how they all purchased like things together, like jackets and like they purchased like all, I guess, I don't know.
Right.
They buy it together.
Mm-hmm.
So she had purchased it and she had come to visit me and she put the planner on my desk. So I'm looking at the planner and literally, and the story never changes because it's the truth. I looked at the planner and I could see in my mind's eye what the person who created it looked like. I don't know if it was like the motif. I don't know if it was the design, just the look of it. I just knew I could see her. You know what I mean? Like I knew she had a little brown bob. I knew she was a Southern belle from somewhere down south. I knew she had like 2.5 kids and a dog. Like I could literally see her. So out of curiosity, I Googled her. And when I Googled her, she's wildly popular. One of the top 2 in the entire industry. And she was exactly what I said, literally down to the T, bob and all. And really in that time, I was like, wow, isn't that crazy? I was like, wow, there is nothing like that for someone that looks like me. Like I had never seen that before. So I was like, huh, interesting. And I was traveling that particular time. I was traveling all the time. Like every 2 months I was somewhere. If it was Spain, I was going to Portugal, going to Italy. Like I was just on a flight everywhere. I just loved traveling. And I remember being in Portugal and they had this really bomb dessert that I like. And I used to go get that dessert every day. And I realized that, Portuguese tile was everywhere. And I don't think we even realize how inspirational it is to lines here. And whether it's Crate and Barrel or Pottery Barn or whatever, or like if you go to, Home Depot, where you're going to pick your backsplash. I was like, wow, it's so amazing to me how something that is worlds away, right, has had so much influence in that it's such a normal thing here. So I said to myself, man, that's really wild that, my family's from Ghana, side note. So I'm very used to growing up with Ankara print. People are very familiar with Kente, like that, that particular print.
Exactly.
But there's so much more in terms of like traditional outfits that are worn, and it's beautiful, it's lively, it's colorful, it's bold. And I was like, man, it's so unfortunate, or not unfortunate, it's just interesting to me that something that's so popular there, like, why isn't it a thing here? Like, why don't we see couches and like backsplashes and all these different things made out of these prints? Because I think it's so beautiful. And it was like, boom, like right then and there, I'm like, I want to make a planner and I want to make it on card print.
That's it.
Right? Because there was nothing like at that time. This was about 2015. I didn't see, and maybe it was my own naivete. I don't think I Googled either. Like I didn't really see like a lot of Black owned planners or anything like that. And even if there were some, they didn't have the look that I was talking about. Everything was always stripes and polka dots and florals, which is still pretty, but so I wanted something different. So I knew that that's the look that I wanted, and I wanted it to be bold and I wanted it to be exciting. I didn't want it to be understated because that's how everything is. Like, why does it have to be that way? So that's how the vision of like the aesthetic of the planner came to play, because I wanted to bring like the beauty of like African print, because it's so prevalent like everywhere. Like I want to bring it to this space and really curate like a vibe and an aesthetic that I think would be unique. So that is how in terms of the look of it, it was birthed. So I had actually, and my graphic designer, phenomenal. Like I love her, chef's kiss. She's fantastic. And so we had made the planner cool, but it just wasn't, it needed something else. Like it just wasn't enough. It was, regular calendar and, days of the week. Like it needs more. And I just couldn't figure out what that was. And so at that time I was listening to a lot of Miles Monroe, and he was talking a lot about like vision and understanding that God has put you here for, a singular purpose. Well, many, but like there's something here that
right
actually do, right? That God has graced you for. But it's you having a relationship with him that will bring that to the forefront. So that was in the back of my mind. Cool. All right. So I'm like, all right, I'm trying to like bring it all together. I'm not really sure like how this is going to be encompassed within the planner. So I said to myself, all right, it's going to be a planner. Yes. But I wanted to incorporate like that aspect. So I knew I was going to do something around like having a vision statement, something like that. Because yes, I know that vision boards are wildly popular. I myself am not like a vision boarder. I'm a writer. So I like to write, but for me, and it's no shade, I'm not knocking anyone, but it's like, for me, I never understood like the correlation between like looking at it and the success. I can understand like you being reminded by, I guess, the visual, if you put it into place, like every day.
Right.
But to me, it didn't have like the steps, because I can put like, okay, I want to find a man, or I want to be married, but like you have to go out for that. It's like he's not in your house. Like you got to go out. You know what I mean? Like you can't fake.
Right.
Like go out, go to a different grocery store, go to a football game. Like those are things that you can do to put yourself in the line.
Exactly.
Right? Those kinds of things. And I just couldn't figure out the connection between the goal,
the vision board and the goal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, all right. So we got vision there somewhere. And I said, something else has got to happen. So I went on a fast, just 5 days, from Monday to Friday. Friday, I broke at 6. I sat down. This may have been counterintuitive. I don't know why I played this album, but I played the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill album. By the time the album was done, because it was an hour and a half, 2 hours, by the time the album was done, the content for the planner was done. God just gave it to me in that span of that hour and a half, 2 hours. So I don't know if anyone is familiar or not. If you're not, go check it out. But in the planner, it's structured so that it has like a message monthly. And that is what the Lord had given me at that time for every single month. So that is how it came to be in terms of how it is different. So it's not just like, oh, your calendar's there and your weekly spread is there. No, it's like you have your vision statement, you have like the steps to actually create it, you have your goals, and then you break your goals down into increments monthly so that by the end of the year, you know, no matter what the ebbs and flows are, you are at least able to make a significant dent or accomplish it. That was a long story, but
it was a good one though.
Okay, good. I like it. I like to hear that was good.
No, it was a really good story. And I'm glad that you shared the details of that, because I think sometimes when people see those who are in business or who have launched out on their own, sometimes it, of course, because of social media and things like that, it looks like, boom, you blinked and it was done. You know what I mean? But they don't know. So it's not even just like the steps to get it done as far as, oh, I had to go to the and I needed the graphic art. No. It was even in, okay, I know what I wanted to do, but how was it supposed to be packaged? And what is the detail in it? And what is the, you know what I mean? It's all of those things. And so I say that to say, thank you for walking us through that, because sometimes I think people don't really understand what it really looks like to create. You know what I mean? They don't really get that. And sometimes you feel like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. This can't be it. So then they just give up.
It was a 4-year process, because remember, I said 2015, 2016, and I did not launch until 2019 for 2020 planners. And actually, if I'm going to be honest, I wanted to launch in 2018 for 2019 planners, and it just wasn't ready. And my graphic designer told me, and she's a very patient soul, and I don't feel like I've gotten much better, but I was the kind of person like, oh, I want it done now. I'm ready for it to go. Just like you're saying, most people think it's going to be. But she said, Grace, if it's not ready, it's not ready. She said, if it's not ready, it's not ready. Even the design change. I've been through so many design iterations, so many format changes before we landed on this. She was like, girl, if it's not the time, it's not the time. And then we have to sit on it for a whole nother year for it to be ready in the way that it needs to. And it came out at the perfect time. Even though that was a very tumultuous time in business, especially because there was so much going on, that the messages that I would get from the planner for that particular year were always like, oh my gosh, this message was right on time for this month. How did you know?
Yes.
Well, it wasn't me, friend. That was the Holy Spirit. So that, it was it wasn't, let's be clear. It wasn't like, oh, I did it in 6 months. Absolutely not. It was at least 3-4 years of planning before it even saw the light of day. So correct.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm glad that you shared that, because, and just as an encouragement to others who, you know, may have an idea or may want, you know, to do something. You know, I remember several, and I mentioned this almost in every space that I'm in, whether I'm doing a speaking engagement or teaching a class or whatever. I always quote this quote. And I wouldn't even say it was a quote, but I was listening to Pastor John Jenkins at First Baptist Church of Glenarden from Maryland, and he was talking about how him and his wife make decisions and how they move and the things that they do. And he said, you know, we always have to make sure we're in agreement and blah, blah, blah. He went through all these steps. He said, but at the end of the day, the thing that I've had to learn in life is that God is not moved by time. we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so even with us coming together for this podcast, we've been in conversation at this point for months.
Almost
Let
a
me
year.
just say that.
No, over a year, Mattea.
Oh, okay.
Over a year.
Yeah. Well, no, not over a year. Because
Oh.
we started, because I started this in March. So it
Oh.
probably has been right at a year.
Right?
Because it's about to be March.
There you go. That part.
So we gonna say months into a year.
Yeah,
and and at first my old Mattea would have been like, this ain't, but then I was like, but one thing that I've had to learn in life is that I never want to force anything.
Mm-hmm.
I want things to happen organically.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there has been a delay, and I know I'm doing my part, not because of procrastination or laziness, but if there has been a delay, apparently there is something that needs to be shared for a specific time and space.
Yes.
And I am open to whatever and however God leads that. And I've taken my will off of that. And so sometimes when we think about moving forward and doing things, we're trying to make this happen and make that happen by the time. And it's nothing wrong with having deadlines. I'm not saying you shouldn't have deadlines, because you absolutely do need deadlines. But sometimes we're so adamant about trying to make things happen that we miss really the whole value of whatever that thing is and the impact, because we're so hung up on a time frame and a time stamp. And so I feel like, God is very purposeful. He's always very intentional. And even with this podcast, this particular episode is so timely, because one of the things that I am learning and that I'm sharing in every space is that you are not behind. Mm-hmm. Because everybody has always felt like, oh, if I didn't do this by this age, or if I didn't do this by January, or if I ain't start my meal plan by so-and-so, it's over. Begin again. Start again. Yes. And so this episode will launch, or will be released in February. We're in the month of February. It will release in the month of February. So typically when we talk about planning and getting your planners together and setting your goals and people normally do that end of December going into January. So it's right there in January. But sometimes you may have goals that you've set or things that you want to do, and life has just happened. Right. And situations just have come up. And so this is also an episode to encourage those who are listening that it's okay to begin again. And no, you're not behind the 8 ball. You are right where you need to be. And to give yourself some grace, because sometimes life just throws you a curveball. When you thought you was going to get to the gym 4 days a week. And then, I know, just say the last quarter of the last year, when I tell you it was ridiculous. 1 week, my daughter had strep throat. She got okay. The next week, my son had strep throat. He got okay. Then my daughter had pneumonia. Then he got okay. When I tell you, it was back to back. Then after that, then it was my son ended up having RSV. Then I got sick. Like, it was like I said, I can't even catch a break if I caught it with my own 2 hands. It just was not. Right. It just was impossible. So there were things that I had not been able to do. And one of those things is, even though, I'm not like I was saying about the whole fitness thing, I go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. You know what I mean? I do my mixed fit. I do my little Zumba class. I do whatever it is. You know what I mean? I love that. It's the way that I, release, stress and just, do all my little things. And so for like 2-3 months, I couldn't do nothing, because every time I turned around, and I was sick. A child was sick. I was sick. And it was just a busy season. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my God, I done gained 10 pounds. You know what I mean? And so I found myself trying to kind of lean in it. I was like, we're not doing that. No, right. Nope. Reel it in, sis. Just begin again.
That's it.
And so I love your planner, because, when I initially got your planner, I was so excited, of course, just because of the product, and because it's done beautifully. It is a very professional product. It is definitely, like I said, Hallmark worthy, Michael's worthy in any retail store. But the thing that you said, which I can definitely attest to and agree with, is what I love the most about your planner it was not just about me saying, okay, I got us this on this day and an event on that day. It truly was, let me make a vision statement for the month of May. Let me write down my financial goals for the month of April. How much did I save? Emotionally, where do I want to be? Spiritually, what do I want to do? You know what I mean? Financially, what do I want to accomplish? And so every aspect of your life you covered in that planner. So it wasn't just about me having a calendar to keep up with my day-to-day routine and things that were going on in my life. It was, no, let this planner encompasses all of who I am.
You done said it, Mattea. I mean, I think what I gravitate toward in what you just said is that you literally captured in just a couple of sentences exactly what the planner is supposed to be. And it's written right there, right? The purpose is to help you find, engage, and share your purpose. Like that. Yes, meetings, things, all of those things have to do with it because it's part of the responsibilities of life. But when it comes down to it, and for those who are not familiar, the planner, every year it changes. So the themes change every year. And what you're saying literally is the theme for this year. The whole collection is called the Renew Collection, right?
Hey.
So it doesn't matter where you fall in it. It doesn't matter if you purchased it in January. It doesn't matter if you purchased it in June, frankly. It doesn't matter if you purchased it in March. If you have breath in your body and you are we do. If you have breath in your body and you are looking for a way and means in which for the Lord to download it to your spirit, what am I here for? Like, what is it that I'm not supposed to be doing? How can I bring all of these different elements of myself, like you were saying, into alignment? It's a tool for that. So it doesn't really matter where you come in because renewal is all about a shift in your perspective and what you're looking at, right? Like the way that you're seeing things, the way that you see your life. Like it's just, I mean, you said it all, Mattea, but you always do. Well, but yeah, like I agree 100%. So I don't, and you're right. The concept of time, we're the ones who made it, right? So just understanding that it truly doesn't matter when you start, as you're saying.
Yes.
You just start. Renew. We just renew our mind, renew our spirits, and that should renew and change and shift our actions.
Absolutely. I love how you have evolved. I love, and I will say for those who are entrepreneurs and those who have your own business and doing all the things, I must say, and I got to give you kudos, not just for the product, but also for just your marketing. Like even when you did your, I was like, okay, girl, this is nice. And they said, this is nice. You know, I mean, it just was so beautifully done. I mean, it was beautiful representation. It was I mean, the imagery was just, it was colorful, it was vibrant, or is, colorful, it's engaging. So y'all take note, those of you who are in the different industry, no matter what industry you are, not just in this space. But I really, I love what you shared about how you guys started, the whole purpose and the intent. But I would like for you to share with us maybe a few tips, because one of the things that I have really set out to be a goal for this podcast is for people to walk away with something. I don't want it just to be entertaining, and I don't want it just to tickle your ear or whatever the case may be. I want you to be able to slow down, Mattea. I want you to be able to walk away with something tangible that you can apply to your life, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, whether it's next month or next year, but something you can say, I heard this and they said, and I need to, and I want to, and I'm going to. And so if you, as we go into and continue throughout the year, I want to ask you this: what are ways that we can stay motivated to make sure we're achieving our goals? I know that we can say, just stay motivated, just do it. You just got to do it. But sometimes people need, like you said, a vision board is great. I see it. But what can we do to ensure that, because I mean, of course, it's going to be personal for everybody. But what are some tips that you could give somebody that can help them? Maybe somebody who's like, I've never had a planner before. I don't even know what a planner is. I had a calendar, but I don't know what that is. Or I just think, because honestly, which I did not know, some people really don't even have goals like that. They go to work every day, they pay their bills, They like, I'm good. But as far as, I mean, they may say, I want to buy a car or something, but they don't really go that deep.
Correct.
It's just like, I'm good. I mean, my life ain't bad. And it's not. I'm not knocking anything. But the whole purpose is for your life to be enhanced. We want to take you to the next level. And so if you could share some tips with us, maybe that can help us or help those who may not have vision for their life or may not have been, in the goal setting space or mindset or around people who even had that part of their vocabulary conversation. If you could give us a few tips, that'd be awesome.
Sure. So I think what you said is very impactful, because when you're in a space like this, when we're having a conversation and we understand the importance and the necessity of these things, like you said, you would really, really be surprised by people who are, I almost call it like flying by the seat of your pants, where like you're living in a space where you are not striving for more because you don't necessarily see it, or you, as you said, you think everything is just, it's fine, like I'm doing well. So I would say the first thing that you would need to do is to take inventory of your life and where you are. I am huge on personal accountability. That is my main thing. I think it is important for people to recognize that no matter the extraneous circumstances, your life is exactly where you plan for it to be. Your life is the sum. This is a quote that I used to have in my class. I taught math. Life is a sum of your decisions. And as much as we like to blame others, whether they are the powers that be, parents, family, honestly, after the age of accountability, it's on you, boo. Like, we have to be honest about this. A lot. And the thing is, oftentimes, especially in certain cultures, we're not taught life strategy, right?
That's a podcast by itself.
Okay. That we don't like, yes, you might have had great parents, but nobody taught you specific, even careers to look at for longevity, right? For wealth building, for like, okay, even where to live. Why do you want to live there? Have you looked at the school systems? Like things like that, like little things that you don't think about until you're there. I like this. I love to, I don't know, act. So I'm just going to go in a theater. Well, are you going to be able to eat after? Not that you can't, but I'm saying, we have to be strategic about what we do with ourselves. You are of yourself, and you have to, from the time that you're young, it would be ideal if that was the manner in which all of us were raised, but that's not the case. So once you've come to the place where you have access to the information, you got to take stock of your life. That's number one. So where are you? Be honest about why you're there, and what is it that you really want, right? And I think that's a great baseline to start. Now, as a person of faith, I would say that's not on you by yourself to do. If you have a relationship with the Lord, that's the best place to go. Yeah, honestly, from my vantage point, is you need to ask the Lord, what am I here for? What am I created for? And oftentimes, and I heard this from Dr. Miles Monroe, he said, it's that thing that sometimes you were a kid. If you could do this thing and not even think about any monetary gain, you just love doing it. It almost comes effortlessly to you. It might look a lot of different ways, but it's innate to you. And sometimes because we're not raised to understand like purpose and things like that, it can look like you're all over the place. And I think we talk about this all the time as creatives. Sometimes we suffer from that. But
yes.
It's like, what do I like? I like everything. I don't know. I'm good at everything. But a lot of it is like, I'm an excellent teacher, right? Breaking down concepts, being able to communicate those concepts, acting. I love theater and that kind of thing. A lot of that is having to be on, right? The ability to communicate and be able to, you might not have the best day. And so what? You got to be on, right? Those are part of it. Event planning. I love planning events, but that again is project management. It's taking a big idea and breaking it into small pieces and executing it. So it looks like I'm all over the place, but the singular aspect of it is being able to take a big idea, which is the creative element, and make it attainable and work on those things and then communicate those things. At the end of the day, that's one of my gifts. And the planner manifested itself in this way. And it encompasses all these things. I get to go on podcasts. I get to speak. I get to make connections. I get to plan things. Like all of the things that I love and I enjoy doing is encompassed in this thing. But it took a while to get there because I've done all of those things. So, but I have a relationship with God and he's able to show that to me, right? So that is the first thing I would say. Sit with your creator. Take stock, take inventory of your life. Look at it, like really look at it and spend some time. I don't think we spend enough time really digging into ourselves enough.
Agreed.
And that's the first thing. This place is when you leave this country, you realize, man, we are all wound up. You don't get home till 6. You got to make dinner, got to watch a little TV, do this, do that. And you go to sleep and you wake up and do it every single day. You don't have time to think. Create some room for yourself. I don't care if it's a staycation, you just go someplace for one day, or you decide you're not turning on the TV for one Saturday. You're just going to sit with yourself and take inventory of your life. I know this was supposed to be a simple tip, but that's what
it's good. It's good.
I would say start there first. And then I think we're also constrained, as you said, by, my least favorite words, imposter syndrome or just limiting beliefs. A lot of it is when you're a kid, you're so imaginative. You believe in anything. You're so free, because you're not constrained by responsibilities. If you could create a life that you loved, what would that look like? Right? That's your vision. What would it be? And I'm not even talking about financially. I'm just talking about like the freedom to be who you actually are. What does that look like? Are you someone who is philanthropic? Are you somebody who is very community-based? All the things that you didn't have time for, if you had time for it in your regular life, like what would you be doing? And write that down. Like that's part of what we have in the planner. Like write it down. Like we call it a free write, right? What do you want to accomplish? What were those dreams you had when you were a kid that maybe you wanted to be an animator. Maybe you wanted to be a physician. Maybe you love like x-rays and stuff. I don't know. It could be anything. You love speaking engagements. Maybe you like science. Like write those things down because there may be a thread in your life that you're not seeing that will be made evident when you write it down. The problem is we don't think people can't even write anymore, let's be clear, because they're so used to texting.
Let's talk about it.
The physical art of writing is being lost. And I'm like, yo, that's so wild. But that is a thing. Like the Bible says, write it down on purpose. There is a connection. It's been scientifically proven that if you write things down, you're more apt to get it done. So get out of your phone, get off your laptop, and actually put a pen in your hand and just write it down. Write it all down. So I would say start with the self-evaluation. Then we move to the actual, like, build out your vision, your dream. What is it? Write that down. And then I say, break it down to, we call them our ambition areas, our Arrivista ambition areas. There are 5 spaces: your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and your financial, those aspects of your life. All of those things, if you break down anything that you do, it will fit in one of those categories. And start putting those things in those categories. And you don't have to give yourself the 12 months. Some of these things are 2-year goals. Some of the goals I've had for a long time. Take yourself out of the constraints of time and look at the things that you can accomplish on, let's just say, a monthly basis. Let's say you want to, I'm just making this up. You want to write you love children's books, right? You always wanted to be an animator. You have so many stories to tell. And you're like, man, I would love to write children's books. Cool. Don't say I'm going to write a children's book and that's your goal. No. First, I'm going to brainstorm my story. What's my story? Who are my characters? Then maybe February, what are my characters' names? March, what do my characters look like? April, what month is next? April. Right? Then you say, okay, I've sat with them for a little bit, right? They have a little life to them. Now, May, I'm going to start writing the dialogue. My characters are going to start speaking with each other. Like things like that, taking
exactly.
And just breaking it into like more attainable bite-sized chunks. I think, I don't know if that's really easy in terms of like the 3 steps, but
but that's good.
Personal accountability, vision. That's our first thing. The second thing is identifying your ambition areas, where they go. And the third thing is breaking down those goals into more attainable chunks. And you can give yourself 6 months, give yourself a year, give yourself 2, whatever it is that you know that you're going to be able to actually adhere to, given life's ebbs and flows. And like Mattea always says, give yourself some grace, because life can pop up every now and then. So just be aware that if you don't get it done now, do it next time, God willing. It's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. That was so good. And I think that is really nothing else needs to be said. That really was a great way to end the podcast. I am so excited about this episode. I hope that you all were encouraged by something that was shared today. And I'm just so grateful for this episode, because so many people do lack vision. They really do. And they don't feel as if they have a purpose. But I want you to know that God has a plan and a purpose for your life, that there is something for you to fulfill, and that you are destined for greatness. Yes. And so sometimes we can get overwhelmed and consumed with all the things that we've gone through in our life and things that have happened to us. But even in the midst of those things, whatever they may be, or if you feel like maybe I'm too old, or because of my nationality, or because of my family, or whatever, all of those things are just, I'm going to say it, lies to keep us in bondage and keep us from fulfilling our purpose. And so, once I always say, once you get over yourself, because we really are our biggest hindrance 9 times out of 10.
Correct.
Once you get over yourself and then really realize that, no, there is more for me. There is greater on the other side. And I want you to be encouraged that things will get brighter for you, but you got to do the work. You got to sit down, like with what Grace says, sit down and do a self-examination, really take stock in, who am I? What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? Why am I here? What purpose am I supposed to fulfill? And to be honest, those are questions only you can answer. And when you sit down with yourself, you can really take inventory on what needs to be your next steps and your next move. And I want you to know, we are in the month of February. We are still in the beginning of the year. And so it's not too late to begin. It's not too late to begin again, to start over, whatever that thing is. I remember probably, and I'll give you all a good example, even with this podcast, I had the vision popular. And probably, matter of fact, it was probably right when podcasts were kind of first coming out. So probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, God had given me the vision of having this podcast, and I was trying to get it going, and I was trying to figure out how to do it. And it's like, it's almost one of those things where you're trying to ride a bike, but you keep falling off, and then your wheel is flat, and then you took the wrong turn, then you realize you on a kid's bike, you should have been on a mountain bike. Like it was one of those things. I mean, I'm like, I know this is what I had topics and all the things.
Yes.
And then I was like, okay, this ain't doing what I needed to do. This ain't it. And I put it to the side, life started happening, and all the things. And then last year, it's like, right, well, not of course before last year, before it started, but several months before I got going again, I started writing things down, and he just started giving me topics. One day, I mean, literally I had 30, 40 topics, and I was like, I can have this person on, and that person, and this person. I mean, it's like, I just saw me having these conversations, and I was like, okay, Mattea, this is it. We're gonna do this again. And no, I may not have millions of followers. No, my name may not be in lights, but I know that these episodes are making an impact on people's lives, and people are being encouraged and enlightened and touched and all the things. And if it's one person that hears this and their life is changed, I want God to be pleased with that and be pleased with us that we've done our part, and so, that's what it's all about for me. But we do want you to share us with all your friends and family. Don't keep it to yourself.
For sure.
And I'm not saying we need to say, between me and you, please share us. Right. But then we do want to grow.
Right. Exactly.
Thank you for, allowing us to take some time out of your day and all the things. I know you have here and you came to spend some time with us today. I want to end this podcast. Make sure you are sharing this with all of your friends and family and, all the people that Evolving Podcast on every major platform from YouTube to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and so many other platforms. I'm sure you can catch us on one of those. Make sure you are subscribing, you're downloading. And we always end this podcast with a few words. But before we end, Grace, was there any final? Oh, I want to make sure I got to do this part. I want to make sure that people know how to connect with you. Give us your website and all the things so they can make sure that they order.
This has been a pleasure, Mattea. Thank you so much. So for those who are interested, and hopefully you are, you can go to our website at arrivistaplanner.com, ARRIVISTA planner, common spelling.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at Arrivista Planner. So come check us out. And it's February, so we are running a Black History Month special and a Month of Love special. So come check us out.
Yay, 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 yay. I love that. Thank you again, Grace, for being our special guest this evening. And as I end every single episode, always remember to keep evolving. Until next time, y'all be easy. Thank you again for tuning into Evolving Perspectives. Remember to like, subscribe, download, and share with your friends and family about our episode that releases every single Monday. And always remember to keep evolving. Until next time, be easy.